Rev up your engines!
Well, Nissan might be killing two of its most cheapest popular cars, the Altima and the Versa. Now, the thing is, Nissan's not saying one way or the other. If you understand one thing about car manufacturers, they're really not in the business of making cars. Now, that may sound like a crazy, counterintuitive statement, but yes, they're not in the business of making cars, really. They're in the business of making money. And what makes you the least profit? Cheaper cars. The more the cars cost, the higher profit margin. They're making more profit on them, right? And of course, originally, Nissan's plan was they're going to get rid of all those and they're going to replace them with electric cars, right? Well, with the lack of sales of electric cars, that kind of put a kibosh on that whole thing. So now Nissan's not saying, oh yes, we're definitely getting rid of the Versa and the Altima, but they're not saying that they are going to get rid of them. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They got to play it by ear now, because with the lack of sales of electric vehicles, all their plants are out the window now. They're all scrambling to figure out what's going on. Now, truthfully, most car manufacturers, they don't like making cheap cars because there's less profit for them. Why do you think Ford is selling big pickup trucks loaded for $90,000 and big SUVs for $70,000, $80,000, right? Because they make more profit, and if people continue to buy them, they'll continue making them. Where the converse is true with electric cars, it doesn't seem to matter what price they're priced at. Americans don't basically want the stupid things. So, here we go with another round of, will Nissan get rid of their little cheap cars? Well, if they're still selling and the electric cars aren't, they may or may not get rid of them. Let's face it, everybody knows Nissan quality is not that great, but they don't cost as much. So if you're going to buy a cheap car, you might buy a new one of those. Maybe it'll last for a few years, right? You know it's not going to last as long as a Toyota, but if it costs a whole bunch more, a lot of people are willing to gamble on that, right? A lot of people buy these Altimas and Versas. There's a lot of them out there on the road because they don't cost much. And if they get rid of one of their bigger sellers, if you ask me, it's stupid, because if they got one thing that's successful, you might as well stick to that while you can. Don't replace it with something that has been proven to be unsuccessful, like electric cars, or just drop them entirely and say, like Ford and GM, we're only going to make SUVs and trucks. Well, that doesn't seem to be working out all that well for them either. Well, if you remember ages ago, Mary Barra, the head of GM, said, we're going to be a software company. We're going to make a fortune in software. And then they laid off 2,000 of their employees. So their word doesn't mean much. Well, now it turns out that GM's Google built in on their cars, not only is it glitchy, but it requires a subscription to use Google Maps. Otherwise, you can't use Google Maps on this thing, right? Well, this just shows how screwed up GM is. It doesn't work right, but to use the Google Maps, you got to pay a monthly subscription. See, the whole thing was, Mary said, we're going to make billions selling subscriptions to people. Okay, in this case, this guy's got the system. It is in his $75,000 GM vehicle. So he paid $75,000 for this vehicle, and he doesn't get to use Google Maps unless he pays a certain amount per month. What a crock of baloney. What these idiots up at the top, because of course, they're dead from the neck up when they're in a corporate ladder, in their ivory corporate tower with no brains left in their head. We'll make all this money on subscriptions. Do they understand, Americans? If you spend 75 G's for a car and you don't get to access all the stuff on it, people are like, I'm not going to buy this car again. What a crock of baloney. And the other thing that breaks me up is, who cares if you can use Google Maps on your stupid car system? We all have phones, right? We all got cell phones, and they work with Google Maps perfectly fine. They don't have the glitches they do when you're interacting with GM software, right? I'm sure GM's got to pay Google money to use it, or who knows what kind of stuff is octopi tentacles tied in, how I can use this if you pay this and that. All I know is we all got cell phones, right? They all can use Google Maps or whatever map system you want. Who gives a crap what these people are putting in the cars? And to top it all off, it doesn't even work all that well. There's GM for you in a nutshell. Well, old Elon bragged about a Cybertruck being all secure. Well, guess what? One guy just found out you can peel open a Cybertruck like an orange. A guy came up with a Nissan up to one, and he found out how to get the window and just peel it off like an orange. He reached inside, took the guy's backpack, and away away he went. And interestingly enough, the alarm on the Cybertruck did not go off. So not only was it easy to get into, but the alarm didn't even go off. And the hilarious thing is, this guy in Nuge who owned it, his truck had filmed it. You know, they got cameras inside. So he has pictures of the whole thing happening, but the alarm didn't go off. You could see a guy pulling up in a red Nissan truck, steals his backpack, and drives away. Now, if you want to see it, you can go to the Tesla Cybertruck Facebook page, and you can watch it. It's kind of funny. Well, I think anybody who buys Cybertruck's asking for trouble anyways. I think it's a hilarious-looking thing to begin with. Now, not only did the alarm system not work, but it was easy for the guy to get right in. The guy obviously had done it before, and he knew what he was doing. And I left the guy who owns a Cybertruck wondering, isn't there an alarm? Maybe they forgot that. Among some of the other things they forgot when they built this Cybertruck, maybe they forgot to put an alarm in it, too. I don't know. But yet another failure of the Cybertruck. Failed to keep people from getting in and stealing the backpack. Now, you have to realize you don't want to leave anything in your car. Anybody can break a window and get in. Do you want to have a smashed window because you left something in? Put it in the trunk where they can't see it at least. Don't leave anything out in the open. That's the dumbest thing on earth. Well, now that the Tesla Cybertrucks aren't selling all that well and seem to be having a lot of problems, well, Tesla has dropped their $50,000 penalty against Cybertruck owners selling their truck after they buy them. They made you sign a thing that said, penalize you $50,000 if you just resell it, and you can't resell it until a certain period of time. Well, they've dropped that because guess what? They're not selling the things. They're not selling like hotcakes. No longer are fools paying $150,000. They're there. You can buy them if you're dumb enough to want to buy them. So they've dropped their penalty that we're going to fine you. We won't let you buy another one. They'll let anybody buy one. They want to get rid of the stupid things. In the past, when Cybertruck owners got their electric vehicles, they were warned that they have to require Tesla's permission to offload the trucks in the terms set by the brand. They were said they risk a $50,000 fine if they broke this clause and could be barred from buying future models from Tesla. Kind of like Ferrari, they do that. You can't paint it a different color. You can't do this, or we'll take the car back and we'll never sell you another one, right? I mean, the snob appeal. Well, the snob appeal of the Tesla Cybertruck, that's already faded away. So, obviously their sales aren't doing too hot. They cannot give you terms. Let's face the facts. You buy something, it's yours. You should be able to do whatever the heck you want with the stupid thing. I think you're an idiot if you buy a Tesla Cybertruck, but hey, that's your money. Do whatever you want with it. But his little warning about people reselling them and making profit, well, those days are now long gone. Not only are people not paying the money for it, they're not even paying the money for a new one at the list price because people are finding out, Jesus, look at this thing. What is it? And then it breaks down. And then you got to get them fixed. And they're new. Imagine what's going to happen to these things when they're old. All that weight. Those things are super heavy, right? Everything's going to wear out faster just from weight. That's common sense. The tires, the bearings, the motors, the batteries. It's big and heavy. The bigger and heavier something is, guess what? The faster it wears out. You got a big heavy truck, your tires are going to wear out a lot faster than a little small car. And these things are super heavy. Well, if you're thinking about getting a hydrofoil electric boat, well, there's a new one out. It's called ENVGO. What a stupid name. ENVGO. It has the NV1 electric hydrofoil. Again, they can't even think of names, right? They claim has a range of 80 miles. Well, numero uno, we all know that's at slow speeds, not at high speeds. Electric motors are extremely inefficient at higher speeds. Now, they claim that this 25-foot luxury boat can cruise at 25 miles an hour and go up to 50 miles an hour. I guarantee you. The 80-mile range is like probably going 8 miles an hour or something, because a boat, which are relatively inefficient, they go for speed. Yes, but they waste energy like no tomorrow. Anybody who owns a boat, if you drive it fast, you know how much fuel you're using up. My neighbor in Rhode Island has a big old boat. It uses 50 gallons of diesel fuel per hour when it's cruising along. That's a lot of fuel, right? 50 gallons an hour at, $5, $6 a gallon. We're talking an expensive thing to float around in, right? I can see so many things wrong with it. It's like, okay, they got a range of 80 miles. So if you're going fast, it's probably got a range of like 30, 40 miles. What are you doing electric boat when it runs out of electricity? You can't jump start it. You have to recharge the battery. Yeah, there's lots of chargers on the ocean or the lake there. They're all over the place, right? You'd end up towing the thing back all the time. Either that or put an outboard motor as an extra on the back so you can motor yourself back. I mean, and then, of course, the real sticker is they're not even telling you the price. They say for $1,000 deposit, you can put a deposit on one of these boats, right? Nobody on the internet says what they cost. So I looked up up one that already exists that's called a C8 electric hydrofoil boat, okay? They start at $395,000. They're using a battery pack from a Polestar 2, the electric car. That's what they're using their battery pack from. $395,000. I don't know what this one's going to cost, but the one that's out there already costs $395,000. Okay, these are for the ultra rich, right? Oh, look at my electric boat. Ooh. Maybe they'll tow it with their yacht, and that'll be their little dinghy from going to the yacht to land and back, and then the range won't matter much because you don't go that far, right? It's just to go to your boat back and forth. And if you have that kind of money, so what the heck is $395,000 for a dinghy? Now, when I'm in Rhode Island, people have dinghies, they sell them for like $300-400. Now they row in and out, or they put an electric trolling motor on them. But I guess if you're that rich and you've got a Tom Brady-sized boat, what would you care if you had to spend $395,000 for an electric hydrofoil to go back and forth? And then maybe you'd buy 2 of them. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.